Once you've come up with your strategic plan, you then need to implement it, and during that process, monitor how well you are doing at implementing that plan. And that's where a balanced scorecard comes into play. So what you see here is an example of a balanced scorecard. Typically we have some categories and some dimensions that define what we're looking at. Here you see what's called objectives in this balanced scorecard, and these are going to be where you're going to put your operational strategies. Sometimes you see goals here, although goals tend to be more vague and broad, so an operational strategy is more appropriate listed here. So then we have what's called a KPI, and a KPI is your key performance indicator. So this is going to be how you're going to measure how well you are doing at implementing your strategy. So if your operational strategy is to become the cost or the industry leader in cost, then you're going to do so by reducing your cost per unit. So the way we're going to measure how well we're doing is with our KPI. If we are trying to increase our market share, then our key performance indicator may be our market share percentage. If our operational strategy is to have 0 defects, then we're going to look maybe at the percentage of goods that pass inspection first time. So you need a way to measure how well you are doing. And then we need to set a goal. That is, during the next time period, so maybe next year, 6 months, what is the goal in terms of obtaining that? So if we're talking about reduction in the cost per unit, maybe our goal is a 20% reduction in cost. We need to set a goal for a specific time period. And then we need to measure, as we're going through, the results to date. So based on this balanced scorecard, currently we've cut our costs by 10%. Our goal is to cut them by 20%. So our score then is that 10% divided by 20%, which means we're halfway to the goal. If our goal is to increase market share, and our goal is to have 50% market share, and we're currently at 40%, then our score is the 40% divided by the 50%, and you can see we've obtained 80% of our goal. Now, if you're looking at a scorecard for an overall company, you may have strategies that are not just operational, but you may have finance, marketing, and other strategies that fall in this list. In which case, we can start to divide up these strategies into categories. So you see here finances, an example of a productivity strategy and a growth strategy. And we can make a bit of a general list here in terms of areas that you might look at. So under finance, you may have strategies related to productivity, related to growth. You might have strategies related to your customers, in which case we're looking at quality and timeliness. You may have process related strategies. So we're looking at relationships with our suppliers. We're looking at the product and how it's made. Distribution. So anything related to logistics. We might have things related to customer service or other services that we provide. We might have strategies related to reducing the risk related to our company. We may also have strategies that are more learning and growth related. Not growth in terms of expanding the business and selling more product, but learning and growing in terms of our human capital. So the knowledge, experience, training of our workforce. Information capital. So how to make our products and provide our services. So do we have new and better ways to make things? And it might be organizational capital, related more towards the structure of our company. So as you build your balanced scorecard, you can pick a number of dimensions, and then from there you have your strategy. So if we go back, we can identify where in the organization or what part of the organization is focusing on this, create our strategies, come up with a way to measure them, how well we're doing, create a goal. And then as we start to implement these strategies, how are we doing to date? Keep track of our score. And then what you see here on the right, a mean performance, is to look at, okay, the strategies we have related to financing, productivity and growth related, how are we doing on average in that area? So 50% score and an 80% score, if you add those two together and you divide by 2, you get an average score of 65%. For customers, in this case, we have 2 strategies, one 0 defects, one timeliness and delivery. We had an 80% score on one, a 95% score on the other, so our mean performance here in terms of customers is 87%. So you can then start to evaluate how well the company is doing in completing our strategies and meeting our goals in various areas within the company.